Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Adela Hurtado, and I'm with Viva La Animación. We do these monthly panels, and we always feature some really exciting people. And today we have Gracia Perez and Sophia Magallanes, and just a little bit about Viva La Animación in general. We started in May 2024, and we've been growing ever since then, doing a lot of really cool events in LA and New York. And we've just expanded in general from just doing those kind of events to all these monthly virtual panels now. And we have a Discord and Instagram as well. So you can join. Oh, thank you. You can join our Discord server. We'll post the links, and we have our website that's up and coming up in the summer, I believe. So that'll be exciting as well. This will also be recorded, so you can check out our YouTube channel afterwards. We'll send out the recording for those who are either late or can't come. So thank you so much again. And we have, for this month, we have Gracia Perez and Sophia Magallanes, two storyboard artists from Peru who are doing really exciting work. And just a last thing, my name is Adela Hurtado. I'm in Paris now at Gobelin, and I got to meet, I'm admitting people, I got to meet Gracia and Sophia at different times. Gracia years ago at the School of Visual Arts when she was in New York, and Sophia just recently at Annecy in Annecy. And so what we'll do is introduce, Gracia and Sophia will do introductions of their careers and things like that. And you could submit questions in the Q&A, as well as you could say them at the end, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. Just submit your questions in the chat, and then we'll get to them. Thank you so much. And Gracia, you can get started. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Adela. Hi, everyone. Gracia Perez. I was a student at the School of Visual Arts. I think 6 years ago, I was able to attend because of a scholarship, but then I had to drop out. But it was an amazing time that I had there. I met Adela and I made many connections there. I'm currently a storyboard artist and I'm also a 2D animator, but I used to that more earlier in my career. I'm also the co-founder of the Mujeres Artistas en Animación Peru, which could be translated to Peruvian Women and Artists in Animation. I co-founded this with Carla Montalvo. I'll share her Instagram later and the Instagram for our community, and it has been really amazing. Like we also have like some panels for Peruvian women, and we also try to connect them with talent. We'll do portfolio reviews, but yeah, it's like a still new project that we're doing. But yeah, it's very exciting. I've been doing like a storyboarding for a long time, like I think professionally for almost 4 years now. I've been doing local productions in Peru. I'm currently based in Peru, but I'm also doing some productions outside. Like those happened more recently, maybe in the last year or the beginning of this year. Yeah, I've been working internationally, but yeah, it has been some really exciting projects. I've been like so lucky to have them, and yeah, I don't know what else could I add to that. Well, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, now it's my turn. I'm Sophia Magallanes. I'm a story artist too. I've been working as a story artist for almost 8 years this year. I started back in 2017. Well, I went to animation school. I studied communications, like a filmmaking thing at the university here, but eventually found my way into animation and storyboarding. I started my first production was working for a movie called La Imbo, The Spirit of the Amazon, for a local studio here in Peru. And after that, I worked for a couple of years in local studios, doing some boarding and directing here for projects like Angry Birds, Bubble Travel, and stuff like that. And eventually, after a while, I started to get work with studios from outside of the country. I started working with studios in Latin America and in Spain, and eventually found my way into the US studios. I've had the opportunity to work for studios like Netflix and Bento Box and Warner Bros. In productions like Batman Cape Crusader. seasons 1 and 2. And I'm currently doing board for Boulder Media slash Bento Box production, everything remotely. I'm well, that's been it. No, I really, really like doing boards because I feel like it's a cool way to merge what I like about filmmaking and live action filmmaking. That it was video editing and doing the camera work and the lighting, um, mixed with my passion for animation, telling stories and drawing. So that's why I really like storyboarding. I love what I do. And well, I wanted to thank Adela. We met recently, like a couple of months ago in Annecy. It's always really cool to find more Peruvian people from all around the world and having some time to talk about it. And I don't know, it's a really cool opportunity to have the chance to like talk to people from different parts of the world tonight and try to I don't know, answer the questions that they have about like how to get your foot in the door uh, by doing storyboards in animation and that kind of stuff. And thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, both of you. And I just want to check. So both of you see each other on the screen, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
okay, wanted to make sure that was working. So yeah, thank you so much for introducing yourselves. I have some questions that people had submitted before. And I think something that people really want to know in general is, well, I guess well, maybe we could just start in general, like what got you into storyboarding in the first place? Like, why was it storyboarding as opposed to, other things?
It's a great question. Well, at least in my case, I feel like when I started like in university, I didn't know what storyboarding was. I remember clearly that in one class in like the second semesters, we got an assignment to do a shooting board for a class thing, and I went to the library because it was like back in 2012, and I'd written the book like, okay, so this is storyboarding. You need to like put the drawing in the frame and mark what the camera movement was, and that was like my first like approach to storyboarding. And I remember that as time went by in university, every time we had the chance to do some shooting boards for the short films we were doing, I would like offer myself as a volunteer because I can draw, I can do the shooting board. And well, eventually, like when I was like getting close to like graduation, I remember one of my teachers told me that, oh, you could do storyboards because you can draw and you know about cameras, so that could be an option. And that really got into my head. And I was like, okay, I want to do storyboards. And then also at the time, I followed a lot of this, story artists from Steven Universe on Tumblr. So I was like, okay, how do I learn to do this stuff? No, I remember I started to like try to find every online class I could afford because I didn't have that much money. I remember that this website called storyboardart.org had some free resources to learn how to storyboard. And I bought a really cheap Wacom bamboo tablet and started to try to learn how to draw digitally. Um, Actually, when I graduated from university, I was working as a motion graphics designer in an ad agency. And by the time, like I was started looking for storyboard artists, and I applied with what I had. That was mostly shooting boards from university, and got in. So that was like the way I started. I got into storyboarding. What about you, Gracia?
Oh, well, I think I came like into the game when like things were more like they had on me because like when I went to school, I remember that on my I don't know, like first semester they told me, oh, like if you really like movies, you can do this thing. And I was like, my mind blew up. Like I went to animation school because I thought that there were many parts of the production that I could do, but then I was shown to do like how to do the storyboards, and I was like amazed by that because I've been always been such a film nerd. I love movies. I remember that I went with my friends to their house and we had like, like, well, here in Peru we have like these CDs and USBs with the pirated movies and we saw them on the TV. And yeah, I feel like that was part of me, like always like liking seeing movies and being close to that. And when I saw that I could like make a small, I don't know, like direct something by myself, I feel like that really drawn to me, but by the fact that I could also like create my own stories, because I remember that at school we were like pushed to create our stories. Um, I think we did like a portfolio piece back then, but yeah, it was like really small. I feel like I became more um, I can learn more about drawing storyboards more professionally during the pandemic, because like there were so many resources back then. Like there were so many like Discord groups or like classes that were offering for like so many different prices, that I remember taking all the classes that I could do, but also like joining the Discord servers and keeping accountability with the people that were also trying to learn. I feel like that was like I don't know, like the real green happened during the pandemic for many of us. But yeah, I also remember like there was like this time that I did like some challenges with my friends, and we had like a story, like a word every day, and we created a story based on that every day. It was like I don't know, like Inktober but for drawing boards. So yeah, I feel like the green was there. I don't know if like it is still happening. I feel like that time will not come at that, like everyone doesn't have the same free time that we had back then. But I feel like many of us took advantage of that, and I'm so happy that I was also be able to learn from that time. So yeah, it was a dark time, but yeah, I feel like we had to take advantage of the free time we had. And yeah, I feel like I just like movies a lot, and creating my own stories, my own portfolio pieces. Like I still some have ideas in mind that I want to create every time. I don't feel like I will ever get bored of like doing stories from other people by but also creating my own.
Wow, thank you so much. And I just wanted to follow up on something that you both said. Do you have examples of the resources that you used or like the classes that you did take that you were able to take from Peru, whether it was online and stuff? Could you name them for people? Because I think it's really helpful for like those of us who couldn't or who can't do like a full animation school kind of thing. What opportunities do we have to learn, you know?
Yeah, I feel like, at least in my case, when I started doing boards, there weren't many resources, especially in Spanish. So you had to like first learn to like how to speak English and try to look into resources of well that are in English. And well, the one I mentioned is storyboardart.org by Sergio Paez. He makes a lot of storyboarding classes. And he had some like free tutorials about just how to start doing boards. I also eventually took the online Aaron Blaze online course that he has about storyboarding. Took some from Schoolism at a time. I think that, and oh well, also joined the storyboard mentorship by storyboard.org, like back in the pandemic. Those are I think those are the storyboard classes that I took. I feel like also like I would think about like animation is that you can really start to getting jobs as long if as you have a good portfolio. It doesn't really matter if you finish animation school, if you went to animation school. I didn't went to animation school, and I know a lot of artists here in Peru that didn't study animation at all and are working as a story artist. Because like a lot of resources are free online. As long as you really like take your time to practice and to find the resources, you can learn how to do this on your own, not without like paying for a big animation school. What would you? That's it.
That's true. I mean, I had to drop out because like animation school is like crazy expensive. I mean, I was on a scholarship, but I also had to take a loan to pay for it. But I'm gonna be honest, because I feel like I just learn more doing my own thing. Like I'm thankful for the things that I learned at animation school. I learned a lot of like how to draw and like the fundamentals. We had like life drawing and all of that, but to be honest, like if you want to specialize in something, even if like it's a different part of the animation pipeline, like BizDev or doing backgrounds or storyboard, I feel like you have to really dig on your own, because you'll have to be like very specific, because animation fully like they teach you a lot of things, but there are so many things that they will try to teach you, but at the end you will have to do like the work by yourself. I feel like that's like the current sentiment that we have to like, for at least for the work we do, like we always have to teach ourselves how to do it. But yeah, I feel like one of the resources I remember, like there's like this Discord that's called the Animation Story Group. They had like monthly challenges. So like they also help you to keep you accountable, to like present your stuff. So yeah, I remember that happened when it was at the pandemic. I also took one brainstorm class with Rash. I'll share his Instagram, but I don't think he's teaching there anymore. I think he has like private mentorships, but I took it with a really amazing group of friends. Like they were my classmates, and then we became friends, and we were like grinding. I remember that we had like this the game that I mentioned before, like doing one storyboard panel a day with different work. But we also tried to like do film studies. We had like sessions doing film studies. I feel like film studies are um like the best way to learn how to storyboard, because we learn from the visual things that we already have, like the movies, like the directors, they already made some of the work. It's also like our job as a storyboard artist to interpret that vision. So yeah, I feel like film studies are so great to like understand filmmaking and all the process. Yeah, I think it will be the animation story group, a brainstorm class that I took, but also like all the resources. I remember there was also like a rat how to school that they had like
Yeah.
a story class. Yeah, that was also like a
They
good
had a
resource.
sprint story class, I think, like a couple of years ago. No, they they
Yeah, I
they
don't know
had
if
like,
they do that anymore.
I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but online
but yeah, they
classes are
had
the way
that.
to go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, thank you. No, thank you for putting those in. The animation story group is still active. They're still on Discord and doing things sorry, doing things every month. And so that's really cool that you use that. And I know Storyboard Art also has its own Discord server, and that they're still actively doing a lot of really cool things. So I'm really glad because you mentioned all those resources, because when I started out, I could only do like the continuing ed classes at SVA, which you were at. Gracia, I forgot if that's how we met, but yeah, it's kind of finding
yeah.
these things. And were there like local things in Peru that you did that also helped you in storyboarding?
Like, you mean classes?
Classes or projects, through projects or things like that? Because I know there's like a lot happening there, but how was it for you?
Well, in my case, I didn't take like any animation classes here in Peru. Uh, but now there is like a bigger offer of like online courses and stuff that you can take in Spanish here. Um,
Oh, by the way, Sophia is
Ah,
doing a
yeah. By
class.
the
Yeah.
way, I
By
I
the
opened
way.
a class like mainly focused on like film language for storyboarders. It's like one thing that I also like teach once at an animation school here in Peru, a storyboarding class. At the time, I felt like because you only have one semester to try to teach how to storyboard, I felt like one semester was way too short for trying to like teach someone how to do boards and especially how to tell stories. So after so many years of like working in the industry, I decided to finally like open a class that mainly focus on like that theory part, so you can really learn to use the tools that you have from film language to try to tell your story. Because I really believe that uh, as long as the story you're telling is understandable and is well told, like your drawing is not the most important part. I never consider myself uh, the best at drawing, and that's something that I've been really like practicing a lot over the years. But the first thing that I learned to really focus on was on my like my the the thing that I wanted to tell as a director, the story artist. And it's like it's more important that you have a strong um like a strong base in film language at the same time that you practice your drawing, but not get like really super like stressed about like, oh no, my drawing skills are not perfect. No, so you like only focus on that. So that's why I open a class. So if it's right now it's only in Spanish, but if anybody is interested, I will like post a link on the chat about that later.
Please post it. I want to know. I want to take it.
Yeah,
No,
Sophia
that's
is a
great.
really great teacher.
I like to talk about movies, so I have fun when I'm teaching.
Yeah. And I guess just to follow up, because I know one question that we had also was how did you kind of make that leap from, I think you both worked on like Peruvian productions first, and then how did you start moving into international ones?
Well, and in my case, it's like I feel like a long story. There's no like easy answer to that.
Mm,
It's essentially just applying a lot and working on my portfolio and working on networking and on doing like the network part. Because like at the beginning when I started, there weren't even many story artists here in Peru, not even in Latin America. So when I started, because I was also like super insecure about my drawing skills. I used to think that, oh no, there's no way I'm going to ever get into these big animation studios. Why would they even notice me? No, so for like the first like 2 3 years, I was like, I don't know, I struggled a lot with that. I was sort of like having like a super stressful time at job, at work, and but like eventually like, when the pandemic started and we all went working remotely, I feel like that really opened the doors to a lot of artists here in Latin America or all around the world because the students started hiring people, that were not presently living in LA. Um, so yeah, and also was the thing that a lot of the animation festivals moved online, like Lightbox, Expo, CTN had these recruitment sessions online that didn't happen like before. So like
They were
when
also free, right? I
yeah, and
think
they were
Playbook
free
was
or really
free.
cheap.
Yeah.
I remember that Lightbox Expo was like what, $5, $10 to attend online. And I feel like that kind of really opened the opportunity for all of us to like start networking with people from the animation industry that were not in Peru. And we were online. Everyone was at some Discord servers talking with people from the animation world. And through that, I started to apply like this strategy to okay, uh, if I don't like post my stuff online and I don't put myself out there, nobody's ever gonna know that I exist or I can do work. So I like really listen to like the advice of some of my friends and I started applying and I started sending my portfolio a lot. I applied to like storyboard portfolio review so I could like really uh, like and improve my portfolio and did that for like what a year 6 months before I started hearing from studios from outside of the country because I remember my first job at the US studio was in a small independent production in a short film because I met someone through the mentorship circles. Um, uh, I entered one for storyboarding, but the thing that I did was I tried to look into all of the other mentors for all the other circles and contacted all of them on LinkedIn. And one of them like answered me, oh, I look at the portfolio, it's really cool. Would you be interested on like taking some revisions and doing some sequences that I need for a short film? So I did that. I just kept doing the same thing. I tried to contact a lot of people. I tried to improve my portfolio. I tried to make friends, and to keep working on my craft. And eventually, I got the job at Viva Boss with the Spindlehorse. And I feel like that really like started like opening the doors. Like, it was like one thing after the other. No, I really started like doing this networking thing like consciously like on mid 2020. I got my first job at like a big studio that was Netflix in late 2021. Like it was on December. So I started doing that on February like the year after. So at least in my case, I think that it's really a matter of consistency, of just doing the hard work part, and also that networking part is that two things, because you like eventually when the opportunities come, you really need to be ready to like take the job and do a good work, and also the thing is that you need to keep doing this constantly. No, I've been working for like the industry in the US for some years by now, but that doesn't mean that you're like secure, as because you need to keep applying and keep improving and keep working hard, keep learning if you want to like keep getting the steady jobs in the animation world.
Yeah, I feel like
Gracia, did you want to
continue.
add? Yeah.
Yeah, what Sophia was saying is like sometimes like luck will come knock your door, but you'll have to be ready. So like I always try to keep that in mind whenever like I feel like that's like I'm always constantly talking to myself like I need to like have everything like be prepared because like you never know what will happen, and like our industry right now is like crazy. There are many things happening but also like many things that are being canceled, so I feel like for me at least I was like always aware that I had to put a lot of work in, so I started drawing a lot. I have like 78 sketches, like sketchbooks full of sketches, and I mean I feel like I've been always trying to grind and grind and grind, but also like also trying to keep in mind of like taking a rest and doing like stretches because like sometimes you just overwork yourself. I mean I'm someone who like when I get in the moment it's like so difficult for me to stop. I sometimes just it's like a really bad habit, but I'm working on that, but I sometimes just forget to eat, but because I just get too invested in my work. So yeah, it's also like being healthy and that, but for for me, I get out of school, I drop out, but I had been working for a few studios here in Peru. I was also working for a feature film called Kayara that I think this year got released, and so I feel that also helped me. I think I like my career started in the wave where things were being canceled. So I remember getting like some callbacks from recruiters and then something getting canceled, but I just had to play the game of like that thing doesn't have to affect me. I mean, I've been sometimes being sad because maybe it's my work that is not good enough, but it's also the reality of the state of the industry, and we just gotta keep working on our skill and our craft, and also like learning the art of networking, because like sometimes I feel like it's not taught enough in, for example, in animation schools. Like they don't talk you a lot about networking, and that is like one of the most important things in animation, because like you'll have to like be a bit annoying sometimes, like sending emails to recruiters and letting them know. But I've been like I have gotten opportunities by being annoying. I mean, not saying that you have to be mean to them, but sometimes you just, the fact that you are keep talking to them and asking how they are and how things are going, like putting your name out there, helps them. So like when they have something, they just reach out to you. Yeah, there are so many like different things, like people how different people approach networking. I just feel like I'm someone who's like trying to be friendly, but also like trying to be consistent with my network, because like, yeah, you make the connection, but you need to be consistent with them, not letting them like go. Yeah, just like sending me one email, but you just keep in mind like after, I don't know, like 2 months, for 4 months, it depends. But yeah, I like to like keep them updated, like this is my work, I updated this, this film got released, this short film got released, I'm working on this, I'm working on that. So yeah, it's like a lot of sending emails and being consistent with your network.
Yeah, and also like I feel it's important to whenever you like really get into when you get into a studio or get into a project to like be a good teammate. That's
Yeah.
a really good skill to have because eventually you will cross paths with these people again, like maybe 2 years after that project we work on. So it's always good to like be a good friend, no, be a good person. Talk to the people in your team, even if you're working online. No, sometimes I remember when I've been working with some teams. Uh, Sometimes when you have a meeting and the meeting extended for like I don't know, like an hour, 2 or 3 hours, you're like, oh, this was probably easier to be just mail with the change that I need to do. But I also like remember that it's important to just talk about life with your teammates, especially when you're working remotely, because you need to really create that connection, no, because it's important to like I don't know, be friends with people in the industry because you never know
Yes.
when they will need someone or when you will need someone and you will pass on the project. No, I feel like that's the way things work. It's important to like make a good impression uh, because you don't know when someone will recommend you for a job later on. So that's important.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I just want to like I'm gonna say piggyback on using that lingo, but I think I want to add to that as well. Patty Wanna Draw asked, do you think being an international artist can be a hurdle to be hired in the industry? I guess what have your been experiences? I know it doesn't seem like for either one of you it was easy, to find more work outside of Peru. It seemed like it was difficult. I guess, can you expand on, do you think it can be a hurdle? How do you get over that?
Yeah, I feel like, of course, it's hard. It's not. I feel like the first thing that is going to be harder is that you start without any contacts at all. When I started working, I only knew the people that I met on at work here in Peru. No, and that's what's it. No, I didn't have any contacts in the studios in the US. So to get to the point when I started to like meet people, it took a while of doing a lot of networking. No, and even right now, no, it still takes a lot of like going to events, talking to people, meeting people online, talking to people on Instagram, being active on Instagram. No, I feel like you can like make the parallel to uh like you need to work on your marketing of yourself because we as an artist it would sound like a little bit I don't know, ugly, but you are also like kind of a product that you need to sell. So if I want to keep getting clients, I need to keep like working on marketing myself. So in order to do that, I cannot only like do my work and hide and disappear. I need to like keep putting myself out there. So that means like saving money to go to events like Annecy, talking to people, no, or whatever I have time just to be in a panel, attend events online, going to events here in Peru. No, that's important. No, and yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, and I, I always like remember this phrase that one of my friends that is also here, Rodrigo, somewhere in the list, tells me
Oh,
that working in animation is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So the ones that survive at the end are the ones that are constant. No, it's not really a matter of just trying to like get to that studio before you're 25 yet. It's not that. No, you need to like accept that things take time. And sometimes getting into whatever is your goal is going to take longer than you expected. But you just need to keep working hard, and eventually things will work out. But you need to be patient. No, don't get discouraged when things don't work out well the first time. Because also like in this world you can like network a lot, apply for jobs, eventually hear about get interviews, but don't get the work. Don't start working in the studio because 1,000 things can happen, between that interview and the start date. And even when you are started working in the studio, things can go wrong and the project can get canceled at any moment. So that's the state of the animation industry. You just need to like accept that and work around and try to understand how the industry works, what and at what point are we in the industry, because there are like really high points where we get a lot of shows at the same time greenlit and there's a lot of production hiring artists, and points where you need to work a little bit harder to get to work. So it's kind of that.
Yeah, I think it's also true because I've never feel like there's like a disadvantage, like a real disadvantage if you really put the work, but it's gonna take years because like we are not born speaking English. Like we have to learn the skill. It's not like we can just go to like I don't know like a really big animation school and graduate, and like after that you will just get work, because it doesn't even work like that. You just get 1 year after you graduate, if you get the work there, or you you are lucky, but if you don't, you just have to come back also. I feel like that's also like one of the drawbacks of like it's also expensive like studying abroad, but yeah, it's like difficult. We have like to learn by ourselves, like all the things about the storyboards, about the animation pipeline. I mean, there are studios like right now in Peru that I feel like are doing things a bit better than a few years ago, but I feel like that's only happening like this year at most. But it wasn't like that a few years ago. So yeah, I feel like we've been trying like we have been fighting for the things that we have, like the positions and the jobs. It's like a bit brutal because we're also competing with a pool of like candidates from other countries. So yeah, for me, in my case at least, the first studio that I worked outside of Peru was Be Water in Spain. And that was also because I would just ask, I was like, well, the production ended, and do you guys wanna look at my portfolio? Maybe you have like any openings for a storyboard artist? And they say yes. They gave me an opportunity to interview because I just asked. And they didn't have any position posted, and I feel like sometimes that the fact that you were in something familiar for them, they prefer to sometimes just work with someone that they know they can do the work. So yeah, it's just a game that you have to play. Doing the social media thing is also a bit difficult. I've been struggling because you just have to also be constant on that. But I feel like for people who are working outside of the US, that's like one of the easiest way to like constant by posting on social media, but also on LinkedIn, doing the connection. And yeah, this is gonna be the first year that I'm going to be going to an animation event, so we'll see how it goes. But I feel like I've been building a network through the years that I'm ready to meet in person. So yeah, I feel like that's also a thing that I don't know, like artists outside of the US have to do. Like I don't know, like Sophia said, we have to like sell ourselves, because like the majority of us are gonna be working as freelancers, because like if we want to get in a studio like an in-house, we'll have to get a visa, and that's like another thing with the things that are happening in the US, So I don't know how that works. I don't even know if like there's any like international people who are going outside of the US to work in the US. I remember that a few years ago that was possible. I heard of those cases, but nowadays it's something that I don't think it's going to be possible right now.
Yeah, and also like maybe like be aware of how that kind of stuff changes over time. Because I remember like
Yeah.
there are times, for example, during the when we were getting out of the pandemic, where some studios like in Canada were hiring people and taking them to Canada. Right now, I feel like it's getting a little bit harder if you don't have some contacts already, because a lot of projects are requiring that you are like that you already have a work permit to like be in Canada or to be in Spain, and that can like be a little bit hard because sometimes you could be a really good fit for the role, but you just don't have the necessary paperwork to work in that specific project. That's something that is happening right now. It wasn't like that maybe a couple of years ago when I started getting work for the studios inside. But at least with the US, I haven't heard like from a lot of people that go to work in Leipzig. But a lot of the students are still working remotely, so I feel that that's a good thing to like to know. But maybe if you want like to relocate and to live somewhere, maybe it's a little bit harder to do that right now.
Yeah, someone, can you hear me?
Yep.
Celeste had asked, and I'll get to Brianna's question and then I'll get back to the Patty's. How did you first negotiate a work from home contract? How do you negotiate one today now that studios are pushing for more on-site contracts? And yeah, I think they're kind of talking about like, how do you negotiate? Like you're in Peru, how are you? Yeah, negotiating that, being able to work from Peru as opposed to being, on site in the United
Hmm.
States.
At least for the studios that I've worked for, like are not in Peru, it's always like being like understood that we're going to work remotely. Because I started doing that during the pandemic, and everyone was working from home. Even right now, that like we're working with the team at Bento Box. The directors are working from home, so I feel like at least like Bento and when I was at Warner, it depends like from studio to studio, but a lot of people are still working from home, so that was what was expected. Also, like, because when you apply, it really said like, "Where are you based?" And you said, "Okay, I'm based in Peru." So they're like, "Okay, so you're going to work remotely. You are not able to do hybrid work or stuff like that." And about like negotiations, it's really important to really try to inform yourself about what are the rates in any different country, because like Peru pays a different rates that Mexico and Canada, yes, and Europe. Everyone has different rates, so it's important to talk to people and to try to find that resources when you can get like educated about like how to get the best deal for you. Because like one thing that could happen is that because when you are in a country like Peru, they will probably like try to give you a lesser rate uh, than for the people that are working in the country. So it's a good thing to like try to look online to see, okay, this studio is contacting me, how much do they pay for this role? Try to get like a number and try to negotiate based on that. But also it's a matter of time. Like as you get more experience and more years working in this industry, you learn to like get a better deal, and you can get like more negotiation power to like get a better salary in that case.
Well, just a follow-up question on that, Sophia. Like, wait, so because you're in Peru, some people try to offer you a lower rate.
That will happen. So it's important to like learn. Okay, how much are they paying? Like in this country, what is a good rate? And try to like control offer if the offer is too low. No, I said, okay, I cannot do it for this. What about this? No, but usually in negotiations, sometimes they start by asking you what is your rate, especially in freelance positions. So it's good to have like a freelance rate that can be adjusted depending on the type of project you're working on. Because obviously, I'm not going to charge the same for an independent Peruvian movie production that for a US studio production. It's not going, they don't have the same budgets. So you just need to learn how to adapt yourself and adapt your rate depending on project by project. And especially even if you're going, like, for example, in advertising versus TV versus feature film versus a short film, everything has a different rate, and you need to like learn how to use that in your advantage. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And especially, for example, if you ever get like work for studios in the US and you are not in there, it's a good resource to look into the rate sheet that they have in the Animation Guild. Uh, they post what are the rates for every role, so that's a good reference point to start the negotiation. So if I don't know if the rate is $40 an hour and they offer you 16, then you know that they are offering maybe too low. No, and it will depend on you if you accept that or if you control offer and negotiate for a better deal.
Yeah,
Wow.
I feel like continuing on that. Well, with Sophia, we've been doing like some talks and like I don't know, like community gatherings with the Peruvian storyboarders, and we've been talking about rates because sometimes since like being a freelancer is like being mostly by yourself, sometimes you are just sheltered from the other people experiences, so like it's good to talk about how other people is going. Sometimes it's just scary to talk about prices, but I feel like it's like good for the Peruvian community to like learn about how the rates are outside, like in the US or in Europe. I've been mostly working for Spain, so like I've been having sometimes I've been offered less that I've been uh, that I wanted, but I know that other people also got the same. I don't know, the same rate. So like I just asked for that and they accept that because they know sometimes they just because they think you're from another country they can pay you less. So it's like good to be informed about those situations because like you don't want to be paid less than other people for doing the same thing. Even if you are like in the same team doing a storyboards. I mean I can understand that a supervisor can get like a more salary, but if we are all sometimes doing the same, like there shouldn't be any like reason to pay you different than other people. Um, Talking about contracts, I haven't like since they always offer me like the position they know that I'm in Peru. I haven't had any issues with my contracts for now, but I remember that for one job we just had to clock in like at what time we were working or until what time. So like yeah, sometimes some companies have like their own like clocking hours, so like they know how much you're working. I just get paid by project, by the how many I don't know how many seconds or like minutes of a project I do. So I just put my rate based on like seconds or like minutes. It depends. So yeah, that's like the life of being a freelancer. We just have to like put our prices straight and learn and talk with everyone. It's all about communication, I feel. So
Yeah, like
yeah.
I've for example, when I've had the pleasure to work with students in Spain, you have like this 7 hour difference
Yeah.
between Peru and Madrid, so it can be a little bit hard, but it's always manageable. Especially when you're working with students, I know in the US, sometimes you have like 3 hour differences, or sometimes it's just an hour. It depends, but as long as you communicate, like I'm going to be my office hours are from 9 to 6, and that is from that hour to that hour in your country. Um, and you are also flexible because sometimes you will need to take maybe a call that is at 5 p.m. PST, so you will start your day maybe a little bit later to justify working your 8 hours a day. No, so it's always something that you can work around. It's not difficult as long as you organize yourself. Also, like to add, like this thing about contracts, like in my experience working from Peru, you're always hired as an independent contractor. You're working full time, but you cannot get like the same benefits as someone that is like in the country working directly with the studio because you cannot do that. We're not there, so you don't get like all the benefits of maybe being in the guild. You do the same job, the same work, but it's just what it is. No, so if you are, for example, here in Peru, it's always a good thing to be informed about like how that will work out with your like tax thing organization in your country. In Peru, it's
La
SUNAT,
Sunat.
so la SUNAT. So it's always important to like learn about that, pay your taxes so you don't get into any troubles with your country. That's important to know.
Yeah, it's just really helpful to have like accountant. Like I had a friend who introduced me to an accountant to help me fill out my taxes, and because like I didn't knew like how to declare, like I was getting money from outside the country, so like how do I declare that? Like that's are the questions that arise when I was like new. But yeah, it's always good to ask around. I feel like that's the only way to like learn by asking and communicating. I feel like that's really important, at least now. Yeah.
I have a question that's kind of related. No, that just kind of came up. Like, what would you say are differences that you've experienced between Peruvian or Latin American studios and ones abroad, like your work experience or just experiences in general?
Mm.
I feel like even Latin American countries have different pipelines from the Peruvian. So like I just feel like it is like manageable by different countries. I mean, some studios, like the studios that I work at Europe, at Spain, they were pretty organized, and they had like a whole like system. They had like how to clock in the hours and all that program. So yeah, I feel like maybe it comes down for with the organization. I mean, apart from the payment, I feel like it's also like obviously like Peru pays less because we have like less budget than other studios outside of here. But yeah, I just feel like it's more like about the organization that they have, how they follow the pipeline, and the roles they have, like supervisor and director. They sometimes are more organized, but yeah, that's my experience. I feel like I didn't have many problems working outside. Um, but some of the studios here are a bit messy from what I heard. I just had one experience where I feel like things were messy, um, but just one, not many. But I think it was different. I don't know. Sophia worked during that time.
Yeah, but I feel like it's also a thing that every studio is its own world.
Yeah.
Like studios in Latin America can get like be more organized than others. Same thing with the US and Europe. It just depends on the studio you're working on. At least in my case, I feel like I've always had like pretty good experiences whenever I've been working on. Uh, Especially like in the experience with the big studios, they tend to be like really, really organized. I know that sometimes story artists get a lot of work and um, I don't know, things can get really hard sometimes. But at least in my experience, like working with like things like Warner or Netflix, everything was pretty organized. The producers were doing a really amazing job, getting keeping everything on track and between the schedules. So that was nice. But one good thing that I could like I don't know, like highlight about the studios in the US is that they really have like a really consistent pipeline, at least in TV. Like you know that you have like 2 months per episode. That's always been the case with every show that I've worked on. And within those 2 months to finish like that 10-minute storyboard or animatic is a really like good schedule to work on. But I feel like the harder schedules are for sure the advertisement. Because you have like, I don't know, like a weekend to finish a full storyboard. So you will probably uh, work a lot of hours during that weekend to get to that deadline. Um, but it will depend. You just, I don't know, really need to learn how to sometimes push yourself and work a little bit harder. But yeah, I feel like the schedules with the studios in the US are way more manageable than the ones I've had in while working in studios here in Peru. Because here, like the times are a little bit shorter. No, I feel like one of the harder schedules that I had was finishing a 6-something minute animatic fully edited with sounds in like see 5 days, 6 days it
What?
was. That was crazy. Yeah, but sometimes you have that kind of things. So that compared to a 2 month rotation per episode feels fantastic. No, 2 months is amazing. No, you have enough time to work and sleep and do your thing. No, but it will depend from project to project. Now, for example, one of the projects I was working on this year, we had 2 weeks. You had 2 weeks to finish a 30 seconds to 7 minute animatic, timed but not edited or anything. But you have like 2 weeks to get to have rough boards and 1 week to clean and do revisions. So that was obviously a little bit harder to reach in 3 weeks. But it was kind of manageable if you like organize yourself well. I feel like also like maybe having the experience of work on studios here in Peru and having like also work on stuff like video editing and advertising and stuff like that really teach you to like be organized and to work well under pressure, even if that's obviously not like the best thing. It's not like uh it would be amazing if we all had like enough time to finish the things, but sometimes like schedules would not allow that. So you need to sometimes learn to work well under pressure. So that's one skill to learn.
Yeah, I just felt that, well, at least for me, I'm just like thankful for the things that I've been learning, like at the studios at Peru, because they gave me the opportunity to learn, but also like the opportunity to work with less things because we didn't have much. So we just had to be efficient and fast. So I feel like that's a skill that it's really valuable for studios outside, that if you know how to work well with that particular skill, like you can do anything. Like you've worked under so many pressure. Like for example, I remember that well, it wasn't for Peru, but it was for a project at Spain. We had to rush an animatic, and I remember that I could did it. I did it in less time that, for example, other people did it, because I just had experience at Peru that I had to do under so many pressure. So yeah, so I mean, also like doing the job of a storyboard artist is like being efficient. It's like you just have to do it, and you don't have time to like make your drawing so pretty and like clean and neat. Yeah, I feel like that's sometimes like more, they give you more time in other productions, like sometimes for feature or like for TV animation projects that give you that time. But yeah, I just feel that that's one of the things that I just felt valuable from working at the Peruvian studios. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow, thank you. That was a really interesting answer. Though I liked it. Brianna, one of our Peruvian volunteers at Viva La Animación, she had asked also, how important is it to work on personal projects and how does it help you build upon yourself as an artist and a creator of storytelling? And she also says, also Peru represent, so grateful.
Pero clave.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. And her parents feel a lot of great pride too. But yeah, so I guess how important is it to work on your personal projects and building upon yourself as an artist and creator?
Oh, thank you, Brianna. Well, at least like in my case, I don't feel like I'm the best example about like doing personal projects because I don't know. I tend to like get like take a lot of work and never have time to like do some personal stuff. That's the thing I need to keep working on. Um, so maybe Gracia could have a better clue to that.
Yeah,
Like
I
I think
think.
that in normal free time is like do film studies and keep practicing drawings because I like to do that, but I have a hard time working on personal stuff.
I mean, it's just a whole ride. At least I just feel that you just left part of yourself in personal projects. At least that's how I see it. For me, at least, I remember that I got my first job by having a personal project in my portfolio. I only had one, and that helped me to get hired for a storyboard position at a local studio called Maneki here in Peru. They gave me the opportunity, so yeah, I just had that, and I feel like it served me well for a bit, but I don't know. I'm just someone who like really likes to suffer because I had to handle like my full-time job but also like doing my other like personal projects because like it takes a lot of work because it's also like doing it for yourself but also for the recruiters of like your network, so you are also thinking about them as like something that people want to see. Also write some of them. I've been like doing some script writing for my personal projects because I mean, I've been working with some really bad scripts in the past, and I don't know. For myself, I just wanted to like make a nicely written script that I could myself work on it. So, yeah, I also tried to like work on my script writing ability to like do my personal projects. But I mean, I remember that at school they told us the importance of like personal projects because like you didn't have any experience and like you didn't have any like I don't know like studio work to show, so like that your personal project is like your presentation card to the studios. So I feel like if you don't have any studio experience, or if you have like from I don't know from animation or like from doing background, you could mix up some stuff. Like maybe if you have like an animation, like maybe you could do like a storyboard of the animation that you already have and adapt that to a storyboard, so you don't have to create your own things from zero. I also did an exercise with they gave us a storyboard script, like a comic, and we had to translate that to a comic. So I feel like that's a great exercise to start because you already have the comic written for you. You just have to adapt it to like the 1980 by 1920 like aspect ratio. So yeah, I feel like that's a nice exercise if you don't want to write anything from zero because I personally feel like I just get really excited with my ideas and the character, but then when you have to write it and make it work, it's just so many things that you have to keep in mind. So if you want to start, I would recommend doing a comic book adaptation, a comic that you like, and you just adapt some part to a storyboard. Yeah.
Wow, no, thank you. I think it's great that just from a personal project, you were able to get like an actual job, which is so cool. And Maneki is one of the Peruvian studios. They're doing a lot of great work now. And they were some of the first people I took classes with. I did their online remote classes, online classes in storyboarding and animation, like 2D animation. So if you speak Spanish, you can definitely just take their classes. It's pretty reasonably priced, and Yeah, I took classes with them and now I met them in person for the first time at Annecy just a couple of months ago. And so yeah, it all comes full circle. You never really know who you'll meet again, but I really credit a lot of the Peruvian classes for helping me get started, but also helping a lot of us get started in general. I know someone asked we have a couple of questions, and I want to get back to Patty's question about what are some like speaking of like kind of early days, like what are some book slash movie recommendations for learning storyboarding?
Well, I have one recommendation that is not really simply about storyboarding, but there's this really amazing book that is called The Visual Story, I think is in English, by Bruce Block. Is La Narrativa Visual en español. I think it's The Visual Story. I will take a look. But that was a book that they made us read in second semester at university. Um, I feel like that would really teach you how to use like some of the elements of film language to tell a story, and so that would be my always like to go recommendation when you are starting to wanted to learn to do boards, because the way I see it is more important to learn like the directing skills, the drawing skills. The drawing skills will come eventually as you practice. No, as long as you are sitting there doing sequences every day, you will get better. But you need to study filmmaking. That's the most important thing. Because like even if your drawings are like just a circle and two dots for the eyes, as long as the story is well told, you're in a good starting point. So I would say like reading that book, studying a lot of films, and not only films like films, TV, short films, music videos, no, but seeing it with a critic eye, no, not only saying like, okay, this was fun, but saying like, okay, why was it fun? No, why did it make me try? And try to study what kind of direction choices the director made that caused that effect on you. That's really important. So a good exercise to do that is not only to analyze, but to maybe sometimes like copy the sequences, copying by doing like storyboards of what you're seeing and try to see, okay, what's to try to find like, okay, this is an interesting way to cut from this to this, or they are like moving the focal point from this point to this point doing this. That's a good thing to study, because you never know when are you going to apply that to your sequences. And also, if you want to do storyboards, just do boards a lot. If you don't have like, if you're not working in a production, just and you're not good at screenwriting as I am, you just can Google a script online and work from that. No, maybe adapt a segment of a book you like and try to adapt that to a storyboard. But just keep doing boards. Because things like, I don't know, like mastering how to like not break the 180 rule is something that you will learn by practice. No, it's not only about like reading it, you need to practice a lot, like working with scripts and try to translate that. Eventually you will get good at wording, but you need to finish a lot of sequences to get good.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like you learn by making it and failing and doing it again. So, yeah, I remember reading this book called Story by Robert McKee, I think. Yeah, it's more about the screenwriting and like how they do the stories. But I also remember reading Frame Ink. That's also a really good resource about like how to do compositions. I mean, the drawings are intimidating, but it's like a good learning resource because they teach you how to use compositions. And also, I just feel like the noir films, like the black and white one, they teach you so much because they have like these rules they had to follow. I mean, they still follow, but they had like they were still making them. So I just feel like I remember watching Casablanca. That's one of my favorite movies, and like I was blown away. But when you study it, when you like go analyzing the scenes, you understand why it works so well, and not only like the lighting and how they frame the character, but also like the compositions are like so well made. They You just have to study them by doing like film studies. I remember doing film studies for like Reservoir Dogs from Quentin Tarantino. I remember like when I was really into like action films, I did like, oh, I want to practice action. I will have to like look for an action sequence that I want to study. So I feel like that's like really helpful too. Just think about like some of the movies that you like and ask yourself why you like them and analyze them too. So yeah, I feel like that's really helpful.
I
Thank you
paste
so much.
the link to the PDF that from the book I talk about.
Let me get that. Let me get that. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you. And I think we have one. That was great. I wrote these down for myself too. And we have, I think, just one more question. And this one was in Spanish. Let me just read it out loud. Hold on. Oh, I had it pulled up and they said, just a second. Scrolling. 1 second. They wanted to know si piensan sacar un estudio de animación más adelante.
Should we answer in Spanish or in English?
I think you could do it in English because I don't know. They
Uh,
wrote in both.
Not about animation studios. Like I've never really think about it because I don't think of myself as the type of a person that is really good at selling stuff, of like going to markets and selling projects and getting clients. Like I feel like my professional aspirations are more in line with like really working my way into the animation world. Like, and right now I'm like focusing on like getting established in like the studios like US and kind of that kind of markets. I really want to like keep learning a lot because I know that by working with that kind of studios, I have this amazing opportunity to work with people that have like, I don't know, 20 years of experience doing boards. I learned a lot just every day by talking to them. So I want to just keep learning, keep working hard, and eventually try to find my way into like storyboard directing, TV directing, that kind of stuff. I feel like that I will have fun doing that because I like to get in my scripts and trying to like uh, I don't know, like how do you say aterrizar?
Land,
Let, something
land
like
on the
that.
kids.
Right.
Yeah, like to take whatever I have like, and I have fun like just to trying to find cool ways to put it on screen. Uh, but doing an animation studio, I'm not sure. I would love to like eventually try to find time to really work on some like project that I would like to get on. Like there's some like books that I really love, and I feel like could be really amazing short films or projects that I would eventually would love to like uh, adapt into storyboards, but or maybe a short film, but not yet. What about you, Gracia?
No, I don't think I'll find I'll I don't know. It's like so. I'm just thinking about it is like so stressful. I don't know. I mean, I admire people who do it, but I don't feel like that's for me. I prefer to do things like for like the thing that I like. I'd like to do them, and I don't know if like some audience like them, but it's there. I like doing projects for myself, or like maybe doing like a short film or something like could be easily made with a small team. I don't know, like friends or something, but doing like in a studio settings where you have so many people depending on you. I don't know, but I've been finding meaning doing the Mujeres en Animación. So, like sharing and creating that community, I feel like that has been helping me find more, I don't know, like peace, peace with myself, because I've always wanted to see a community like that in Peru, and now I did it with Carla, and Carla has been so amazing with doing so many things. Yeah, I feel like that's like where I stand, like where I like to gravitate around, because like doing like a a personal thing like an IP and then trying to sell it, like for example like my friend Carla, who I co-founded, like she's doing her own IP and she's like doing like this crazy stuff by selling that and traveling to different places. Like, it's not like a studio, but it's like the fact that she has to sell it is like so crazy. But yeah, I
Mm.
just like doing my boards and drawing and doing like my ideas and other people's ideas and working with a team. Yeah, I'm happy there. Don't move me from that.
No, thank you. And I guess I have a question because when I went to Annecy, I was really inspired by just, the Peruvian artists that I met there. And, that was like my first time really getting to meet them in person and getting to know their different works. And I met Sophia for the first time like that. And we met at a picnic in Annecy
Yeah.
and it was really cool. And I guess how do you see yourselves like I don't know if you're working on personal projects now, but I guess thinking about yourself, like, do you think of, I don't know how to put this, like do you think of your personal projects, like, do you see them as part of like Peruvian animation, or do you feel inspired by your heritage at all, or is it like you're just kind of doing your own thing? I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of wondering how the Peru plays into your careers in general. I mean, I know, Gracia, you had some things that were inspired. I don't know. I guess that's just kind of like your identity and being Peruvian and doing all this international stuff now. Any thoughts?
I feel like for sure, like being Peruvian definitely influences the way you see things and you see life. Um, and I feel like I don't know, I feel really inspired by all of the friends that I know that are really working on projects that try to like not only uh, like tell stories that are based in Peru, but or talk about like the Peruvian culture, but also trying to find ways to make it work as a product that can be sold in animation. I feel like that is important too, and I really, really like some of the things that I know they're working on. And there are like some really cool people like the guys from like Bicicleta that are working on like some movies that are set like in Peru, but also talk about like how they like this really Peruvian thing that is like how everyone comes from different places and talks about like immigration and that kind of stuff. I know that like a lot of people are doing really really amazing job and I'm really happy about like how things are turning out. Like every time like when I go to Annecy and I get to learn about like what new projects they're working on, it's really cool to see what they're doing because I know that it's no, it's hard. No, it's really hard to try to put a project out there and sell it. And I don't know, it's a really inspiring thing to see so many people trying to tell the stories about like this place that we grew up with. And at least like in my personal work, like I've I do like a lot of production work, so there isn't really much opportunity to like talk about like your personals, like Peruvian stuff. But I feel like eventually our experiences just find a way to like get into whatever you're working on, because the way that that you tell stories is really shaped by your experiences. So, like from time to time, you get the opportunity to like put at least a little bit of that kind of stuff into the boards. Like for example, when I had the opportunity to work for a Star Wars Visions episode, it was directed by a director in Chile. So he really like, and he talked about like colonialism and how like the empire like was extracting the resources from like this like fake planet in the Star Wars universe. And I feel like that was a cool opportunity to try to translate the experiences that we all had like living in South America and know a lot about like how like uh how binary and how like sometimes other countries come here to extract the resources. It was like the same thing. So it was a cool chance to like try to take a little bit of the experience of having lived in Peru and put it in there. Like for example, I remember we had some sequences that happened on a like big refinery thing. And so I was like, okay, this is my opportunity because like I grew up in a town that is really close to a petrol refinery thing. So like, I would to take the opportunity to like share some of the pictures that okay, look, like near to my house there is this place, so we can use this as a reference. So every time when you have the opportunity to like to like put a little bit of my Peruvian experiences into the words. I really have fun not doing that. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, for working for Kajara, at least, it was the story of being like a woman growing up in a small town. I mean, I come from a small town from like the north of Peru, and so yeah, you feel like you just sometimes, at least for Kajara, just had to find ways to put the things that I want to see in the big screen, but also like being related to the story. Like you just can do your own thing. You just have to find a way how to translate it into what you are doing because you are not the director. You are just helping the director put their vision, but you are also there for a reason. And I just feel that being at least Peruvian for me is also like I don't know. I also feel like I'm representing my small town. I'm always like talking about like how cool the north of Peru is, and I'm also like trying to observe things around me that I could bring to my stories. That's why I always try to draw a lot and take my sketchbook and draw from my observations and taking that notes and what else can I do with this. And yeah, I just feel that for me at least it's like the food and how can I just put that into a story. And I don't know, it's also like the fact that I just sometimes feel that the stories that are made here, they feel like yeah, they're good, but they are just like for the Peruvian audience. And I think that stories should be universal. So many people can enjoy them. And I've seen so many awesome projects doing that right now. I think I did one with Sophia, and it was so amazing to do. I just feel that that project is gonna be amazing. And yeah, I feel like it's just observe things around and taking them into your mind and process them. And yeah, it's like a lot of observation by the things that are surrounding at our lives.
My God, that was beautiful. Thank you both. Because yeah, I feel like as a Peruvian, my parents are from Trujillo, like a little bit up
Oh,
north. And yeah, I don't know if I told you guys that, but yeah, and yeah, I feel the same. Like I'm just every time I go to Trujillo every year, just observing and kind of putting that into my works. And I think whether we're from Peru and I met like Argentinians, I say because we have an Argentinian in the room. Argentinians, Chileans, Brazilians that I met in Annecy and other places are all kind of also doing that thing. And I think it's really amazing to see those kind of efforts. So yeah, thank you for doing this. Those are all the questions that we have. And so for me, I feel like you're talking about like being Peruvian and what it means to you was like a really nice way to end the conversation. And so I don't have any more remarks. If anyone has anything else, let us know. But would you be okay with leaving like an email or something for
yeah.
people to ask questions like in the future kind of thing? You can drop it in the chat and we'll take note of it.
Yeah, I'm going to leave my Instagram here. And if anybody have questions, if you speak Spanish or English, it's okay. No, and just ask me. Like actually, like in what is it on August 2, like in a couple of weeks, I'm like because I'm scheduling some like portfolio reviews with some people that I met on Annecy for that Saturday. So maybe I will try if someone has something that wants to show me, maybe we can just DM me and see if we have can like find some time during that day.
Gosh.
Because it's really I don't know. Like when I was like trying to connect with people and network a lot, I as Gracia said, you sometimes need to be a little bit annoying in a good way. So I just let's talk to a lot of people and was like, can you please like take a look at my portfolio and see what in what kind of like aspect can I like get better on? And so I feel like it's always good to do that for like more people. So if I can help with something, just like DM me if you have some questions. Sometimes I could take a little bit to answer because life gets busy, but just ask whatever you need. And if you speak Spanish and you want to, like, maybe you're interested in taking some classes, I'm probably going to open my film language class around like mid-August, something like that. We'll probably post the this is like I will open like the admission like next week, the registrations, and so there's that.
Yeah, please let us know when you do that so that we can advertise for it too. I was gonna say maybe we'll have you both back for like maybe our portfolio review workshop or something. I know we haven't done that at Viva La Animación, and I know a lot of people would really appreciate that kind of help too. And you both are just so good at it. So I'm sure that would be really
Thank you.
cool. So thank you for offering that.
Yeah, I'm also leaving there my email. Like if you have like more, like I don't know, like you can just send me a big email and I'll do my best to answer it. But you can also like DM me on Instagram. I have also like my community Mujeres en Animación. If any of like Peruvian female wants to join there, and yeah, I'm really open to like uh, giving any portfolio review advice, anything, because I'm a firm believer that we just like have to share our knowledge, and yeah, it's like the best way to learn. And yeah, I'm so open to like any questions, anything. So yeah, it's just there.
And just
I'm also leaving my mail and LinkedIn. It's important to have a LinkedIn. Create one if you don't have one.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can find work just by looking around on LinkedIn.
I was gonna just read out a couple of nice comments you guys got, but just a second. Lydia said, it's really good to know how the animation industry works for storyboarders. Thanks to Sophia and Gracia for share advice and experience. Patty said, thank you for the session, very helpful and inspiring. And Dobie said, thank you so much for your insights. Carlos Stevens said, tremendo capas. And Jency said, gracias. Emily said, thank you both. Belle said, muchas gracias, chicas. Angie said, muchas gracias, se les aprecia un montón. But yeah, Arlette, super, muchas gracias. So just some of the things that you're getting. I hope you like that.
Muchas gracias a todos.
I wanted to read that with passion, like for you guys.
Thank you.
Carlos, gracias por compartir con nosotros.
And please, if anyone is interested in storyboarding, just ask the questions. Like, there are many storyboarders in Peru. We are not many even around the world, so it's important that we all like stay together and try to grow by helping each other.
With that, I'm gonna put our outro song.
Oh, there's a song.
You have?
That's our little outro.
Oh, that's
song.
the cumbia one that
Yes, that we
said,
posted
yeah.
Viva La Animación. But
It's
yeah,
psychedelic cumbia.
yeah, so thank you so much everyone for coming. I think we'll stop the recording.